Hey everyone, I hope you're having a beautiful day. So I have decided I'm going to go ahead and make one more walkthrough video of before my mow today, because I'm going to try to get that front area done. But here is just a view from my back patio. Now you might look at my deck and say, wow, that is a super neglected deck. And you know it was, but before I left 2 years ago, I actually did fully treat this deck. And I'm really disappointed in how the finish held up. Did not hold up at all. To give you some perspective, you know, that's the color kind of that it was when I left, and then there was like a trash bag that was up on here. So I've ordered some liquid rubber for this that is coming in soon, and I'm going to finish this out. But just so you guys can kind of see the difference, here is my deck. It's very aged, was neglected for a while. It's very knotty wood, so I'm hoping that the liquid rubber will soak into all these elevated areas and really help protect it. It's going to take quite a bit of cleaning. I did record some videos before today since I've been back in the last week or so, and I may be posting those later, but you know, I wanted to go ahead and start posting with my videos from today, and then I'll make up for lost time by posting the old ones a little bit later. You know, to give you an idea, I just want to put it on the record here what my hopes and dreams and plans and goals are for this front area right here. Is I want this whole front area to be completely finished out as like an outdoor living space. And then over there, back behind these autumn olives, kind of in this area right there, I want to put in a short duck pond. I basically am not going to be able to put a real pond in that's over 2 foot deep, so I just want an area where my birds can drink and cool off, and you know, waterfowl have to have water to mate in, so I need to get them some pond going, but that's probably going to be another year. Hopefully I'll be able to get it done by next year, because I'm also going to build a little waterfowl coop for them into this hillside. So I'm going to be digging out the hill probably by hand to do that. But I did order some really thick 5.8 ounce weed cloth barrier. And I'm just going to start with this area. This is just my temporary rocket stove that I used to cook on. It's not the best setup yet, but I did do a video on that I'll be posting later. And I've got a lot of work to do up here. The autumn olives have really been taking over in such a short time. I'm really surprised at how much they've grown, and new ones have popped up, but they are an invasive. So I'm going to have to process a lot of those. Here's some of my burdock. I call them burdock trees, because they end up looking like mini trees. And these are the original Velcro. This is nature's Velcro. These will stick all over, get in your hair and everything. Now, if you dig up the first year roots, they're great for roasting and making drinks with and all sorts of things. But when you don't get to them in time and they grow into second year plants, you end up with these little things sticking all over your socks and all over the place. So let's see, here is my old fire pit that you wouldn't hardly be able to tell it's there. But there's like my little, it's just a little fire pit ring. And then I used to use these old stumps they were like my outdoor chairs. And they're rotting quite a bit. I was able to just stick that outdoor LED solar light right into the stump there. But this whole area hasn't been mowed in, you know, it's been 2 years. You know, there have been a lot of ticks this year, so I have to really be careful, especially, you know, and I'm being a little bit foolish because I wasn't really planning on walking through this tall stuff. But the ticks are especially bad along the deer trails. So I got to be careful. I've seen more ticks this year, partially from my cat bringing them into the house, than I've ever seen in my entire life as far as the full-size ticks go in just 1 week. There's just been so many ticks. But I just really want to show you this space before I mow it because it's going to look completely different. I've already been through here when I lived here before and really sort of kind of tried to clean up this area. So we have a lot of willows popping up again over here. There's a bird claiming its territory over there. Got a big one up in the sky there. But I have previously cleared all these willows, and this is just the growth from the last 2 years, because it's not like I dug up the roots or anything. So they're just resprouting. And you know, willows are a great coppicing plant, and you can use them for all sorts of things. You can even make live building structures out of them. So I am certainly not upset that I have so many willows on my property. I just have to be sure to manage them carefully. And then when I want to use them, they'll be there. I've got some really tall ones in the back there that make good poles, and the willow flowers are some of the first that come out. So even very early, I'll have bees buzzing around, and they're very beautiful flowers. But I'm not going to be mowing this area just yet, but I just want to show it to you guys. This area down here is basically a spring bed. Wow, I did not put on the right shoes. I wasn't planning on coming down here. You guys might notice that my style is kind of meandering and not really rehearsed or terribly well planned out. But I dug this ditch through here previously because I've got a tile slash spring that comes out of the hillside there. That hole that you see, I think, is actually a crawdad hole, not the tile. So even when it's drier and there's not so much water running out in this lower elevation, there's areas where the water will just bubble out of the ground. So it's going to be a great space. Eventually I want to fence all this off for my waterfowl and my poultry, because there's drier space up here, and then there's plenty of space for the waterfowl to muck about. So the geese will have plenty of grass to forage, and then the ducks will be able to hunt for all sorts of bugs and things like that. I'm going to just come down here and show you the larger spring real quick. Hopefully I don't get my socks wet. We'll see. The bird's really not happy about me being down here. I guess this is just also me deciding to try to give you all who are not familiar with my little wilderness farmstead property a preview of the non-wooded area. But it's been all mucked up. I had to rake some out, but the thing is that I never weed clothed like around it. So all this grass over the, oh, I just had a frog jump in. The frogs, oh, here's another one. Hello, buddy. He's just watching me. But the frogs do love this area. My waterfowl do love to be in this spring later, and I'm gonna have to actually cut this back so they don't get snuck up on by raccoons and things like that. And I gotta muck this out a little bit better. What'll end up happening is it'll end up filling with sediment, but the water drains all the way back through a channel through there. But right now, since I don't have my water drainage set up real well, and since this whole lower area is kind of a spring bed, this is the one that flows the most. You can't really tell because I've got all this muck up here. So there's the water coming out from over there, flowing into here and through other areas. But there's also a big spring under here. And it doesn't flow all year round, unfortunately, but since I'm at an elevation change, the whole water table, a lot of it discharges through my property. And then there's also the tiles coming from the neighboring field. But the nice thing is I do have a flowing artesian well that only flows parts of the year. Somebody had told me about that previously, but I had only done work on the well, on the pump and everything, while the water table was really low. Because when I moved out here, because the plumbing hadn't been winterized. I didn't have any running water for a number of months, and I was using the Berkey for all my drinking water, which I still do. And then I was fetching water from here, from the creek, wherever I needed to fetch water from. And then the other time that I needed to replace the pump, I still had the check valve in place. And the artesian well flow isn't high enough to open up a spring check valve, only a swing gate check valve. So my discovery that I do in fact have an artesian flowing well in the basement was somewhat recent, and I got a lot of really cool plumbing projects based around that. But anyways, I just wanted to give you guys a really good view here. I'm going to walk out a little further. There's tons of thistles. Tons of thistles with the burdocks over there. This year I did see a rabbit and a squirrel on my property for the first time ever. I used to hardly get any traffic on this road until they paved it, but it's all right. We had emerald ash borer come through here, killed all the ash trees, which is why I got so much really huge deadwoods back in there still. But I had a big standing deadwood right here by the road, and it was one of those things that I really had to take care of before I had to leave, because I wasn't sure when I would be coming back, and I did not want to deal with a dead tree falling in the road and hitting a car or something in a storm. And we have had some pretty bad storms here, so fortunately I got a lot to deal with that. This is just how things look right now before the first mow in 2 years, so I'll be posting to get back with you guys when I get done cleaning this area up. Have a good day, y'all.